I was living stealth. I was frustrated with the world that I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be accepted. And so for kids that are being bullied, like try to, I know this is like hard, but try to put yourself into someone else, the bully's shoes, and just try to understand that they are probably going through something.
Welcome to Living Not So Fabulously. So, David, what were you doing at the age of 15 years old?
Probably trying to figure out puberty and maybe what cologne that I liked that didn't also make me smell like my dad.
Ooh, Polo by Ralph Lauren.
No. And I had the duffel bag to prove it. Dracar Noir.
You're one of those guys.
Why do you ask?
Because at the age of 15, today's guest was becoming the first openly trans prom queen. Corey Rae is a trailblazing transgender activist, model, and writer who made history in 2010 as the world's first openly trans prom queen. Since then, she's become a powerful voice in the LGBTQIA+ community for visibility, partnering with brands such as Ipsy and UGG, and developing her feature film, Queen, based on her true story.
Corey uses her platforms to break stigmas and celebrate authenticity through modeling, speaking, and writing. In this first segment, look out for how Corey's mother reacted when she just sort of intuitively knew that her child was different.
Yeah, it really highlights the importance of having an emergency savings account, or savings in general, right? We're not exactly sure what life is going to bring our way, so a rainy day fund of any sort gives us the cushion and the flexibility to be able to build the life that we and our family want.
Right. So let's hear it from Corey. Welcome to the show, Corey Rae.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you started transitioning as a young teen, which much of your advocacy has been around the importance of trans visibility. What challenges are you seeing in advancing full acceptance and understanding for trans people today?
There is a better general understanding of what transgender is, which I think is amazing. Back in the day, there was just no general knowledge of what that was. And when I was transitioning, I didn't really say I was transgender. I just kind of started growing my hair out and taking it really slow. I mean, I told my mom and my family and some of the administration. But with the student body and a lot of the teachers at first, like we didn't really say anything, or even family friends. And people would say, well, what's transgender? Is that like being gay? And we'd be like, just don't worry about it. Like, keep going on. And so I think nowadays there's just everyone knows what that is. And even though people might still not really understand it or been given the tools to have a deeper education background about it, people know what it is. And it's a hot topic. We keep talking about it. And there are way more transgender celebrities and role models and writers and people to look up to and find work of than there was when I was transitioning. And that's the positive, I would say, is, being able to find someone in some online platform that you can relate to, because I had zero trans actresses to look up to, zero trans storylines to look up to. I do remember people would say like, oh, like the movie Boys Don't Cry, which was like, played by a cis actress and was about a trans man. And then I remember Trans America came out with Felicity Huffman and another cis woman playing a trans role, and it just didn't relate to a young trans person. So I think that's been the positive shift, I would say.
Yeah. I'm curious, it sounded like you had sort of a subversive strategy with coming out as trans. Was that more of was that an intentional strategy, or was it because there wasn't necessarily a model to replicate?
Both, I would say. I, you know, have always loved attention and, ruffling feathers and getting in trouble for talking and things like that. There was already eyes on me in school all the time. I think with my transness, I just wanted to be like all the other girls. And so, I just didn't know what, and to your point, I didn't have any other example of how to really transition. And the options just really come to school with extensions or a wig and a skirt the next day didn't feel safe for me, and it most likely isn't safe for most trans people to this day. And so I did. I just kind of grew out my hair and we assessed the vibe as we kept going. And then as my hair got longer and I started playing with my femininity more in my dress, people were like, "Are you gay? Like, are you coming out as gay?" And I'm like, "No, like, I'm a girl." They'd be like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, I'm this thing called trans." And they were like, that's when they say, "Is that gay?" And I'd be like, "No, it just, don't worry about it. Like, I'm doing me." And then eventually, a couple months in with running for prom queen and all of that, people were like, "I don't know what this trans thing is, Corey, but you being a girl just makes sense." And that was really cool. Yeah, I grew up in a very cookie cutter. My family lived above our means, but an affluent area, and people were very well educated and very smart, but they were more conservative in maybe not politically, but they were just more conservative people. And so they really didn't know anything about it. And it just felt more natural to kind of just do my thing and let people catch on, if you will.
Yeah.
Sure.
So during that time period, it's obviously great to have a support system. So who was fighting for you? Who was advocating for you to be you?
Well, my mom, of course,
Yay.
not of course, but my mom was like my fierce protector and always was. Like, even as a kid, I would ask for a dress. I was asking for dresses at like 2 and Barbies. And um, my mom called up her friend and she's like, "Corey wants to like play with dresses. Does your daughter have any hand-me-down dresses?" Like, no questions asked. Uh,
Oh, wow.
Um, I will say the vice principal at my school was phenomenal. She was a woman and she read this book about like trans people. When we told her, she went and got a book and she read about it and she fought with the superintendent pre bathroom law, pre all this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Talking about your transition, um, there are lots of pieces to that. We know that there's things like hormone therapy, surgery, therapy in general. How did you and your family prepare financially? What was that process like? How did that impact your decisions in life?
Yeah, like I mentioned, we definitely lived above our means in this town. And so saving was always a main priority, I think, for them. I also, going back to what I said about my mom kind of always knowing something more about me, I think she subconsciously or consciously started to save just in case, if anything, for therapy. Um, and I did go to therapy. I found this article in People magazine in like 2006. I was like getting ready to have my bar mitzvah and I found this article and I saw a trans teen and I brought that article home and I told my mom like I'm a girl. I want to be a girl and she was like, "Okay, cool. Like I need to figure out a way to find a doctor to do this the right way." So that was middle school and by the time I started transitioning and we found a therapist, I was already dressing a little bit more feminine. So, she had to save for new clothes, had to save for it's more than people just think about, like, hormones and surgery. It's a new closet, it's everything. If you want hair extensions, if you want makeup, if you want you know, I went the more economical route, and I got a lot of hand-me-downs from friends. I wore a lot of my mom's clothes. I didn't really go out and buy much, use my mom's makeup, and then when it came to surgery, I think instead of us, like, my family having an emergency fund or my family having another car, we only had 1 car, it was surgery. That was, the life savings basically. Um, and it was expensive. I think it was more expensive back then than it is now. I would assume it was around between therapy and hormones, and the surgery, maybe around $80,000, which is just insane. I don't understand how people kind of I mean, I was a kid. Obviously, like, I couldn't have paid for it myself. I don't know where I would be today if I didn't have my parents doing that for me. It's a huge financial burden. Um, and there are insurance companies that do cover things now, but that wasn't an option for us back then.
Yeah. I'm curious, what tips or advice would you have for transgender kids today who don't maybe not necessarily have the support system that you had to prepare financially for when they actually want to do the transition process? Is there like a smart route to do that? Sure.
Trans or cis, having a job is really important as a kid. Even though I really didn't want one, my parents made me go get a job. I was a hostess at a Mexican restaurant in our town. They told me throughout college, you need to get a job. I worked at Abercrombie. I quit really quickly. But I tried to have jobs. So, like, get a job. It might be embarrassing. It might be not what you want to do or spend your time on. But, like, if you want to transition and you want to do it properly and safely, get a job. Go work as a hostess. Go work as I don't know, people do delivery people nowadays, but, like, yeah, Ubers, go to be an Uber driver, an Uber Eats driver, anything, like any job. Don't do it in your town. Go a couple towns away if you can. Because I just remember being a teen, like, again, I grew up in an affluent town, so, like, kids didn't have jobs, so I was mortified, but, like, it's probably not a mortifying thing to have a job as a teenager. Get a job, and I feel like Kim Kardashian right now, like, get up and work. Um, I don't mean it like that, but yeah, like, start saving and don't spend. Don't spend on the little tchotchkes and BS, consumerism. Don't spend on TikTok. Save up for surgery. Save up for whatever you can, and there's also resources like Get Plume. It's an app, and they help you afford hormones and therapy and stuff like that, I believe.
Nice.
So that's a
That's
good.
awesome. I really appreciate that. For any queer kid who wants to come out, I think financial stability, whether it's familial stability, financial stability, or they themselves, that's a really important thing. So let's take a break here, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in to Living Not So Fabulously, we're talking with activist, entrepreneur, and one of the world's most powerful voices in the LGBTQ plus community, Corey Rae. So
Love that for
even
me.
though, yeah, we do too. Even though you had the support of your family and your therapist, you've talked about being bullied. So what would you say to a young person today who is experiencing that?
Oh, yeah, and again, I like that you said a young person because anyone can be bullied. Obviously, trans people are more at risk, I would say. Um, it's the classic hurt people hurt people. I was once a mean girl. I think I took on a persona to protect myself. I've learned
Were
through
you Regina
therapy.
George?
I was the Regina George. I really was, and it carried into college, and I was like the Regina George, and I was like it was kind of fierce and, like, amazing, and people loved me, but, like, they had to get to know me, and I had to let my walls down, and I put on a face, and I put on an act, and then I would constantly get like, "Wait, you're, like, really nice, you're, like, really cool," and I'd be like, "Yeah." And they'd be like, "Well, you don't come off that way," and I'd be like, "Oh." I don't think I even realized it. I just was like, "Oh, a woman." I looked at every movie and I was like, "A woman has to either be ditzy or mean or whatever and perfect and blonde to be accepted and to get the guy." And so I really took that on, and I was hurt inside. I was living stealth. I was frustrated with the world that I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be accepted. And so for kids that are being bullied, like, try to I know this is, like, hard, but try to put yourself into someone else the bully's shoes and just try to understand that they are probably going through something too, and they're taking it out on you, and it has nothing really to do with you, and, don't listen to what people have to say about you or your family or your body. You gotta keep doing what you have to do, and the only opinion really that matters is the opinion that you have of yourself, and if you like yourself or the person you think you're becoming.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So you are living at least one aspect of the American dream. You recently got married. So what is that? How has that changed you?
Yeah, I don't know. Do people wanna get married anymore? Is that the American dream? Yeah, it's been amazing. I am such a binary trans woman, such a binary woman in so many ways. Marriage is can be really challenging, but it's phenomenal, and I really found someone who genuinely loves me for me in my entirety, and I just now I know that it's possible, and now I know that, like, when I tell people it's possible, it's true. I used to preach all the time, like, "Oh, I want someone who loves me for me, and this, that, and the other, and, you know, trans women are women, and we can be loved." But now I have that piece to the puzzle that proves it. It's like this thing, it's like, wow, no, like, it's real, and he's in the other room working 9 to 5, so I can just write and act and do my thing. So it's been phenomenal um, also helps financially too to have a partner to help balance you out. One person can make and one person not, and vice versa, and, like, we have our own plan. He's like, "I can work right now while you work without money, and then maybe we switch, and I own a start my business when you can take care of us financially, and we got a good thing going, so that's nice."
Oh, so
Nice.
the bill's gonna come due soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
I don't know how much longer
Well,
he can take it.
yeah. Was gonna say, speaking of making money and paying the bills, you have actually been able to partner with brands like Lululemon and Ipsy, and you've basically been able to turn your platform into a way of making money. When you look at other queer individuals, especially trans creators, that are navigating these kinds of brand partnerships, do you have any sort of advice that you would provide for them? I think especially when we look at what's going on, and we saw what happened with Dylan Mulvaney and the Bud Light campaign and what's going on in the world today. What advice would you say, and maybe some of your personal experience of getting into this space or continuing in this space?
Um, it's a good question. Dylan got so screwed. Um, and also good on Bud Light for sticking with her. But, yeah, it's a really difficult space to navigate. It's an ever-evolving space. I have recently taken myself out of most influencing brand partnerships and things like that. One, because 'cause I'm traveling, and two, because I stopped seeing, financial success from it. I was doing so well, and I was making good money, and I was partnering with these great brands, and then I noticed, like, the creator economy changed, and it became more about, like, links and sales and this and which I get it, it's your business, you need to make money, but I felt like a vessel for just other people, and not with UGG or Lululemon or anything like that, but just other brands, and I would say if that's something that you are looking to do, it's an amazing market that you can break through and you can tap into and use it. And there's things like TikTok Shop, and I just feel so old in that way. I'm like, I'm come from picture perfect Instagram where like a hair cannot be out of place. I'm not good with like throwing and screaming and, shitting on the toilet, sorry for my language, like while filming a TikTok, which is what people do. And I like, I'm not good at that stuff. And I realized like I don't necessarily want to be doing that anymore. Like I want to be an actress and a writer and a director. And that's where I focus my time on now. But for people who are looking to get into it, prop your phone up or hold it in your hand and start recording. Just do it. Just anything, just any story time. Do your makeup and just have your phone somewhere. Like it can happen. You have to stay consistent with it, but it can happen for you. And then once you have started making videos with products or, clothing that you love, just tag the brands, send them to the brands. You don't have to have an agent or a manager. Like start doing it yourself and see where it can go.
Speaking of helping the community, so one of the questions that we love to ask all of our guests is, what is one piece of advice, financial advice, that you would share with the LGBT community?
Oh. Don't spend on TikTok Shop, like I said. And, like, Amazon and stuff, like, just stop buying crap. Yeah, stop buying crap. It's wasteful, it's horrible for the environment, and you don't need it, and I wish I could do better.
No,
And
that's
yeah, just
That
like
is very poignant for right now.
yeah. The conspicuous consumption in our economy is a big thing, especially in the queer economy, right? We are very much an outward facing community. We love to. I mean, it's part of the name of our show, living not so fabulously, right? Because for many of us, living that extra or fabulous life is what can get us in trouble financially.
absolutely. Also, maybe one more thing, like, maybe don't drink alcohol.
Mm.
You'll look amazing and you'll save a ton of money. So there's that.
Yeah,
That's it.
that is a big line item in our budget.
I know. Well, as you were talking, I'm like, what do we love to do? We love to go out and party and drink. So it's like, maybe we get water. I don't know.
Yeah,
Crazy
down
thought.
a bit.
Well, thank you, Corey Rae. It's been a pleasure having you join us today.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank. So that was a great interview. Corey is so inspiring.
Yeah, I'm glad she was able to make some time for us, even though she's traveling in Florence, Italy. La di da.
I loved how she said that we all must get a job. I mean, obviously within age guidelines, it's important, but I think that even young people, it's really important to get a job, even if you don't think it's cool. And I really love the fact that she talked about why. It's because it gives you freedom. And we talk about this a lot too, the 5 freedoms that come from financial independence. There's time freedom, relationship freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and then you freedom, the ability to live your life on your terms.
Yeah, ultimately, that's the whole point of building wealth and the purpose of this show, actually. So, your assignment this week for those who have kids in your life, whether you're the parent or not, is to open up a UTMA or a UGMA account to start saving and investing for the kid in your life so they can start help building the life that they want.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, scan the QR code to follow Yahoo Finance podcasts and more videos and expert insights. Because when you do, every queen gets her crown. And until next time, stay fabulous.
This content was not intended to be financial advice and should not be used as a substitute for professional financial services.